My beloved, don't scroll. This isn't random. This message was sent to meet you. Heaven just stepped into your feed. This isn't an algorithm, it's alignment. There are only 21 minutes left. What you choose now will shape everything. When you sent that last message, you didn't see what it set off in the spirit, but heaven did. Something ancient buried and hidden just awakened. Not coincidence, divine timing. Your words became a signal. Quiet watchers, people, spirits, systems were waiting. And in that instant, you unknowingly gave destiny permission to move. If you're not ready to step yet, just breathe, be still and listen. Heaven moves when your spirit is still. There is a room you've never seen. White tiles, clean, cold, calm, but not peaceful. On a screen in that room, your name just appeared. A frozen frame of your last moment of silence sits there. A figure stood, made a call, and whispered 4 chilling words. Start the file now. It's been exactly 21 minutes. And in that time, a hidden protocol has been activated. Something reserved only for moments when divine protection is breached. Yes, someone marked your name for protection long ago. You were never meant to know, but now you do, and everything is shifting. Maybe you felt it, the chills, the sudden weight in your chest, the flutter of your heart. That's not anxiety, that's spiritual detection. Archangel Michael whispers, do not ignore this voice within. You're not being forced, you're being led. There's a black notebook in someone's hand, inside it. A date, a location, a transaction, and your name. You were supposed to see it after it was too late, but you arrived early. And that's why everything is trembling. For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be brought to light. Luke 8:17. The moment has come. This isn't just a message, it's a divine wake-up call. The pain you're feeling, the confusion, it's the stretching before a breakthrough. You are not the threat. You are the revelation. Heaven's clock has struck. You are either on the edge of being broken or being born into your miracle. Beloved, I ask you now, are you ready to step into your God-given calling? If yes, type Amen in the comments. Declare your readiness. Let the heavens and the watchers see you're awake now. And if your heart needs one more breath, it's okay. Stay, listen, receive. And stay with me until the end, because I'm going to close this video with a powerful prayer that will realign your spirit, guard your path, and usher in divine clarity. This isn't fiction. This is a holy moment. Let's walk it together. In a place untouched by noise or memory, a vault of silence hidden beyond your everyday life, a drawer just slid open. It wasn't opened by human hands. It was pulled by divine timing. Inside that drawer, something long forgotten has begun to glow. It's a memory, and it belongs to you. Someone erased it, not by accident, but by intention. Years ago, someone you trusted withheld a single truth, a missing detail that could have spared you seasons of confusion, loneliness, and delay. And now, because that truth slipped out through one careless sentence, they're scrambling, covering tracks, locking files, but the lock is broken and the heavens are watching. But you walked straight into the moment he's feared for years. He's panicking now, throwing distractions in your path, notifications, noise, doubt, but don't move, don't scroll. This is not just a message, it's a spiritual transmission. The kind that breaks generational deception and unlocks chains you didn't know were on you. Someone is deleting logs, erasing screenshots, wiping transaction histories. But what they didn't realize is that a backup synced before their first keystroke. Your energy, your awareness, your spiritual alignment, it's all converging right now at the exact second heaven scheduled. That ringing in your ear, that pressure in your chest, it's not random, it's your spirit sounding the alarm, a warning and a confirmation. There was someone paid to keep this from you, to steer you away, to smile in your face while hiding what was yours, but even they are cracking now. Because the kingdom intervened. Somewhere on a silent digital map, a location is glowing. You don't need to go there, it's not about the place. It's about what happened there and how it shaped here. Decisions were made, papers were signed. Your name was erased. There's a hospital room you were never told about. A legal transfer happened. A paper was handed over with 2 names on it, but one was removed, yours. And as the name was scratched off, someone whispered, they'll never find out. But you just did. And now it's too late to hide it again. There's a video hidden inside a single hidden file, long thought deleted, began to glow again, but someone missed a copy. In that video, people speak about you not as a person, but a problem. A threat, a risk to the silence they've tried to maintain. But hear this. You are not the threat. You are the revelation. You're the light they couldn't contain, the truth they couldn't bury deep enough. Time is moving quickly now. You have 21 minutes to stay aligned, not to panic, not to retaliate, but to recognize what's unfolding. Because after this moment passes, a name will be revealed and it will shake everything you assumed was true. Your instincts weren't broken, your discernment wasn't off. What you thought were missed opportunities, they were sabotaged. And the patterns, doors closing, relationships falling apart, plans collapsing, they weren't failures. They were barriers designed to keep you away from this truth. But heaven said enough. Archangel Michael speaks again, not in mystery but in clarity. Stay steady, stay focused. You are not imagining this. Your spirit knows. Your body is detecting what your conscious mind has yet to name. Somewhere there's a real box locked by code. You've seen that code before in a dream, on a receipt written in passing. You didn't know it was the key. But now the code makes sense. Now you understand, the one you leaned on during your pain, the one who promised to help. They were paid to mislead you, but your spirit outgrew their silence, and now even they feel it. Something has shifted. They checked your social profile today, quietly, anonymously. Then they opened a private vault. Your name came up again. This time they didn't delete it, they made a note beside it. One word. Too late, because you opened this. And by doing so, you activated a move of God they cannot stop. The protection is no longer in their hands, it's in yours. Inside one hidden document, your face is circled in yellow highlighter. Next to it is another note, hastily written. They know, and you do. Now you see it clearly. Now you understand why things never added up. Now you feel the peace coming. Not because it's easy, but because it's right. You are not unraveling, you are unfolding. You are not broken, you are chosen. Heaven did not forget you. The delay was not denial, it was preparation. Because when God reveals truth, he does it in layers. First the whisper, then the signs, and finally the moment you cannot ignore. This is that moment, not by chance, by divine design. It was never your fault. The delay, the silence, the closed doors, it was all by design. A divine delay, not a denial. You were being protected, not punished. But something sacred has just shifted. The delay is over. And you can feel it, can't you? The atmosphere has changed. The air around you is different. Even now, someone is pacing. Somewhere behind closed doors, they know you weren't supposed to open this. They're scrambling, sending you notifications, distractions, messages meant to divert your attention, but they've failed. You're still here. Good, stay with me. Now listen. There is one final document. Unlike the others, it's not locked by a password or guarded by digital firewalls. This one requires something far rarer: stillness. If you can hold your focus through these next few minutes, a download will begin, not to your device, but to your spirit. When it happens, you may feel lightheaded, overwhelmed, maybe even emotional. That's not fear, that's your power being restored. They thought you were easy to forget, easy to manage. But you were the variable they didn't account for. You're not who they assumed. You are not what their projections painted you to be. You are the exception to every lie they believed. And here's the twist. They're not afraid because you found this. They're afraid because someone else found you. Someone with influence, someone with reach, someone who's been searching for the real you, and they just got access to your true file. A move was made quiet, intentional, and it's going to place you in the same room, not by a grand announcement, but through what will feel like a glitch, a detour, a misstep that's actually a divine appointment. Be alert, be quiet, let them speak. They already know who you are. You've passed a test you didn't even know you were taking. And now your name is being added to a real list, not symbolic, not spiritual, only a literal shift in your trajectory. This is no longer about exposure. This is about elevation. What's coming next is not punishment, it's power. But only if you stay still, steady, focused, beloved. This next season will not be built on emotion. It will be built on revelation applied. Because revelation without action dies like seed never planted. You must move differently now, and it begins with this. When confusion appears, choose stillness. Do not rush to explain, defend, or retaliate. The world feeds off reactions, but the kingdom of heaven rewards restraint. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Let this be your rhythm. Stillness first, movement after. In your stillness, heaven will move on your behalf. Every image, number, whisper, or dream, write it down. What once felt random will form a divine pattern. You'll begin to see the language of God unfolding. Write the vision and make it plain. Have a cook 2 to 2. Your journal becomes your GPS in the spirit. And remember, not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your spirit, or your plans. Speak less, pray more, guard your peace like it's holy because it is. Whoever guards his mouth preserves his life. Proverbs 13:3. This is not about hiding. This is about protecting the blueprint God placed in you. These small decisions, pausing before replying, listening more than reacting, choosing silence over arguments, they move mountains in the spirit realm. Every time you choose peace over pettiness, you rewrite what was meant to break you. You're not waiting for restoration. You are walking in it now. And now the buried truths begin to surface. That document they hid, you'll see a copy. That person who whispered lies, you'll see their real face. That lingering tension in your chest all year, you'll finally understand why. And what's happening now is divine interference. You triggered something deep across legal systems, digital archives, and even private memories. But you didn't panic, you absorbed, and that's what they never anticipated. You stayed calm, you stayed present. And that's dangerous to them, because calm eyes see clearly. Calm spirits hear truth, and calm souls, they move differently. Now listen closely. There's a woman, older, silent. She once stood close to someone you love. For 11 years she held a sealed envelope with instructions. Burn this if they ever ask questions. She never did, but last night something shifted, not by accident, spiritually. Her hands shook, her conscience cracked. And the seal broke. Inside, a photograph. Not of you, but of someone standing beside someone you were told never existed. That person shares your DNA. Don't overthink it, just breathe. You weren't supposed to find this now, but time jumped. Destiny accelerated. Your stillness became a signal. Your silence became a spotlight. Heaven didn't send thunder, it sent revelation. A laptop once considered junk, powered on yesterday at the exact time you were praying silently. No one touched it. No one knows why, but it came to life. And on the screen, a folder titled plainly, "They Deserve to Know." Inside that folder, unedited video footage, private recordings. A confession made late one night by a man who thought he was alone. He wasn't. He whispered, "I didn't mean to erase their future. I was told to protect the family name." Then he wept. Then the screen went black, but the file didn't disappear. It auto-saved, and last night it was backed up. Now it's real. Now it's traceable. Now it's too late to erase. Everything they tried to bury is being unearthed, not with rage, but with clarity, not with drama, but with purpose. What was meant to devastate you will now define you. What they framed as your failure was actually your filter. God separating you from everything that couldn't carry the truth. Beloved, you are no longer just a survivor of delay. You are a vessel of divine timing. Your name, your calling, your journey, it's no longer hidden. It's highlighted. And no matter what they do next, no matter how they scramble, no matter what version of the story they try to tell, it's too late. Heaven has spoken. And now everything changes. The angel of the Lord speaks again. You are being granted access because you are ready. This isn't coincidence. This isn't imagination. This is a divine unveiling. There was a man who thought he got away with it. A subtle manipulation. A single digit changed. A form quietly altered. He believed no one would ever notice. But what he didn't know is that heaven's system doesn't just track documents. It tracks intentions. And his fingerprint, it matched. That one number he changed was linked to a property on paper. It seemed insignificant, but buried deep in the legal language was a clause. One written by someone who feared this day might come. If the rightful heir activates awareness before the age of 33, restoration must begin immediately. And guess what? You just crossed that threshold. Now the people who tried to hide it are scrambling. They're watching footage, scanning texts, rechecking every step, but it's too late. Heaven already moved. While they were erasing files, heaven was rewriting the script. While they were deleting your name, God was rewriting it in bold. Someone you believed to be an enemy, they're not. And someone you trusted without question, they were planted. The exchange was quiet, subtle, spiritual, and it happened years ago. But today, the veil that kept you blind to it tears in two. Even a child in your bloodline knows, not with logic but with spirit. They've been drawing odd images, saying strange things. One of those drawings carries your true name, a name you haven't heard in years, one that was stolen from you but never erased from heaven's record. And soon you'll see that name again in a dream, in a contract, maybe even scrawled on a wall in passing. And when you do, your chest will ache, not in pain but in recognition. Your soul will remember. That door you believed was locked. It never was. That voice you thought was gone. It's been whispering the whole time. And that miracle you thought was delayed. It just arrived early because of what you chose to open today. They placed limits on your identity. They moved you, thinking the shift in environment would disconnect you from your essence. But they didn't count on your spirit, remembering its origin. You are stepping into the timeline originally written for you, not the tampered version, not the stolen path, but the divine sequence heaven planned before your birth. That's why the chills, that's why the repeating numbers, that's why the deja vu, the fatigue mixed with clarity. Your soul is adjusting, your destiny is rebooting, and your enemies are unraveling. At this moment, two people are in a quiet room arguing about you. One wants to confess, the other is desperate to bury the truth deeper, but the one about to break, they share your blood, and it's becoming too heavy for them to carry. The closer you walk toward truth, the more unstable their silence becomes. Somewhere a scanned image is being uploaded, a faded handwritten letter, folded, creased with age. That letter was meant for you, but it was intercepted. The person who stopped it told themselves they were protecting you, but it was never their decision to make. And now that letter has triggered a spiritual chain reaction. A door is opening they swore you would never reach. You've been shut out of rooms, denied without reason, blocked from conversations and contracts that carried your name. But what they never understood is that divine timing ignores man-made walls. The timer they set has expired. The silent agreement they signed, it has failed. The hush money, the sealed mouths, the closed doors, none of it holds any more because you didn't give up. You didn't run. You stayed long enough for heaven to intervene. You opened this and everything around you can feel it. You weren't overreacting. You weren't paranoid. You weren't broken. You were chosen, and they always knew it. There's a house, physical or symbolic, that holds the truth of your inheritance. And someone has been living in it without peace. Strange knocks at night, objects vanishing in daylight. That's not superstition. That's the weight of stolen legacy reaching for justice. And justice has begun. The very system they created to exclude you is now working against them. Codes are breaking, locks are jamming, digital footprints they erased are being restored in reverse. Because someone on the inside has decided to betray the silence, not out of love, out of fear. A knock happened 40 minutes ago. A trembling assistant entered a private office with a tablet. On that screen, your name highlighted, flagged, reopened, and just like that, heaven's timeline overrides theirs. But everything exposed by the light becomes visible, and everything that is illuminated becomes a light. Ephesians 5:13. You are not just walking into truth, you've become the light, and nothing hidden can survive its brilliance. It reappeared. A single file long thought deleted, permanently erased from the system 2 years ago, came back online. But this time it wasn't accessed from a known terminal or trusted location. It opened remotely, quietly. And the access trail carried a signature that chilled the executive who saw it. Your initials. He went pale, wiped sweat from his brow, rose to his feet in stunned silence, and in his mind only one thought echoed again and again. They know. They figured it out. And he's right, you have. Because lately you're starting to feel things you buried, emotions surfacing without invitation. Conversations from years ago suddenly make perfect sense. Patterns once masked by kindness now reveal themselves as orchestrated delay. The man who told you just move on had a motive. He was paid to keep you from asking questions. The woman who said don't look back was holding a document and your name was printed boldly across the top. And the person who hugged you last month, they cried when you left, not from affection but guilt. They felt the shift. They sensed the vault unlocking. They knew this moment would come and they can't stop it now. But the vault they feared wasn't physical. It was ancestral. A place guarded not by locks and chains but by decades of secrets, silent sacrifices, and spiritual manipulation disguised as protection. What no one foresaw, however, was that the door wouldn't open from the outside. It would only open from within. And you were the key. Not your hands, not your voice. Your vibration, your decision to stay calm in chaos, to listen instead of react, to question instead of conform, that presence cracked the spell. They tried to force it open years ago, but they weren't chosen. They used control. You used alignment, and heaven responded. Now the inheritance is not falling into your hands as a gift. It's landing as a mantle, not a prize, but a purpose. You're not being rewarded, you're being entrusted. You're being watched not by cameras but by sensors, not machines but spiritual monitors. Heavenly watchers are watching to see if you truly understand what's been set in motion, if you're ready for what was always yours. There is a location in your near future, maybe a home, a hall, a hidden meeting room, or even a virtual space where you'll be called. It won't feel official. It may feel like a coincidence. But the moment you arrive, something will shift. The room will recognize you. The energy in the space will tighten. Eyes will glance. One stranger will stare too long. Don't look away. They've seen your face before, not in person, but in a photograph they were told to hide. They were warned about your return. They'll hesitate, but eventually they'll speak. And when they do, they'll say a name, your name. The one that was removed from your records, scrubbed to protect someone's reputation. But now it's coming back not to restore your pride, but to secure your protection. As Archangel Michael declares, this restoration is divine. It is not about revenge. It is about realignment. You're not reclaiming what was taken to punish others. You're receiving what was always appointed to bring balance. Your original timeline, the one you were cut out of, is now merging with the life you're standing in. That's why time has felt warped, why your sleep has fractured, why old memories are bleeding into the present. You're not regressing. You're returning. This moment of insight, it wasn't supposed to reach you until next year, but something shifted. The system, the divine matrix that governs timing, scanned your last message and recalculated your path. And instead of saying hold, it said deliver now. That delivery is already underway, and someone nearby can feel it. They're restless. They dream of you. They hear whispers in the dark and see your face when they close their eyes. They're not afraid of your presence. They're afraid of what your presence exposes, because